Trying to conceive and feeling overwhelmed and confused with unhelpful information and advice? This podcast is for you. Welcome to Don't Tell Me to Relax. I'm your host, Hannah Pern, a fertility acupuncturist and passionate advocate for better fertility education and support. Our aim is to empower you with information to support your fertility journey and provide a community for connection with people who get where you're at. If you'd like to join us or work with us in clinic in London or across the UK, all the information is in the show notes at the end. Before we jump into today's episode, I'm quickly here to let you know that we are opening full-time for fertility acupuncture in central London, Victoria at the end of Feb. And if you're not in London, we have clinics around the UK and we work online. Hello and welcome to this week's episode. I am joined today by Ovum CEO and founder Jenny Wordsworth. Ovum produce a time to conceive supplement and 100% recyclable pregnancy test. And Jenny started Ovum after her own personal experience when she was trying to conceive. So, Jenny, welcome today. Thanks for joining us. Can you tell us about what it was specifically when you were trying to conceive that led you down this path to start your company?
I felt very vulnerable, and that really irritated me because I felt the sector, as in the market of products that I was looking to buy to help me conceive, I felt I was being taken advantage of. I'm an educated woman, pretty smart, and yet I find myself, maybe I should do a handstand after sex and chug some pomegranate juice. I didn't really like that feeling. So by background, I'm an M&A lawyer, so mergers and acquisitions, corporate lawyer, and then I'm a professional endurance athlete for the brand The North Face. So they let me do all sorts of fun things outdoors and up mountains. And I had quite a big expedition, a really big trip in Antarctica. So I was attempting to break the world record for the fastest solo ski across the continent. A lot of time to think during that. But I got back from that, and that was like a big milestone in my life that I was looking to complete, to do. I was married, career was going great. And so the next logical kind of what I want to do next is start a family. And I truly thought it would happen the first time I had unprotected sex, because my education at school had been like, don't touch a penis because you get pregnant. So then you grow up thinking, well, this is on my timeline then. It must be, because it's that easy. So now that I've decided to have a baby, this is when it happens. And then the months start rolling by and I'm like, wow, this is really odd. Why isn't this happening? I felt myself getting more and more desperate, and I really hate describing it as that, but that is how I felt. So more of like that rabbit hole of Googling every month, trying different things. Then I felt a lot of overwhelm with the products in the space. Like, hold on, what am I actually meant to be taking? What is just marketing? Everyone's saying they're scientifically backed. What do you actually mean? And very luckily for me, my two best friends are IVF doctors, and they're now both co-chief medical officers for the company. And it was the beginning of COVID. And so IVF clinics were shut all over the UK, like immediately just shut. So they weren't at work, which is probably a large part of why Ovum came to be, because we had this perfect like moment, although it was awful because of COVID and lockdown, of actually having time to like, well, actually, let's just jump on Zoom. And if you were to make the most perfect pre-conception food supplement, what would that look like based on all published evidence that exists? And we're geeks, we're absolute geeks. And so that's what we spent those months doing. And that's what led to Ovum's first product, Time to Conceive. But it was really out of irritation. I don't like people being taken advantage of, like very much so. And I felt like anyone going through this is extremely vulnerable. It doesn't matter what your background is, because it's something you want so badly. And I don't like that vulnerability, that position you're in, is taken advantage of.
Yes, it's a big theme in fertility because it's such big business for lots and lots of different people. And I think what I often think is there's a lot of grey areas in fertility because there is so much that we don't understand, that we can't control, that we don't have the evidence yet to describe what happens or what doesn't happen. And so when you've got grey areas, it's very easy for all kinds of stuff to fill that space.
It's a great way of putting it. also what we found is there's such a lack, like you mentioned, the lack of research, especially in any area of women's health, that once that body does publish some research, for example, there's amazing research on the benefits of CoQ10, a nutrient for egg health, probably one of the most studied nutrients for female fertility, I'd say. But once that research occurs, is published, the idea that then the products that make it in front of the consumer don't reflect the latest scientific evidence, that's incredibly irritating. And that's what we found. If you look at all the published scientific evidence, and we're talking like randomized controlled trials and beyond, like very high quality evidence, and then you pivot to what's available to buy in the market, it's not reflecting that published evidence. That's incredibly irritating. And it's kind of offensive to the whole research ecosystem. So, I mean, that's what Ovum does. We look at latest scientific evidence. We have our own scientific evidence. We're about to launch our first clinical study to further demonstrate product efficacy and just make sure that's reflected in what you can buy.
And so what is it about the time to conceive supplement that is different from others that are out there?
So it reflects the latest and highest quality of scientific evidence, and we review that. We say every year, but we actually review it more frequently than that because we're such geeks. So if new evidence does come out, it's like, ooh, but it has to be of a certain quality of evidence. So if it was an animal, trial, it's probably something we'd keep an eye on, but it's not going to change our kind of direction with the company. Our CoQ10 is patented, so that has 3 human clinical studies behind it. So it's maximum bioavailability in that product. But also I think what makes Ovum unique is, so we're listed on patient protocols in IVF clinics. Currently in 24 clinics in the UK, and that number's increasing all the time. That's very unique in this space. And it takes a lot of effort because quite rightly, doctors are very discerning with the products that they independently recommend. So none of these clinics are paid to recommend this product. They're deciding to recommend this product, which is very powerful. And it takes a lot of time. We go in, we talk them through all the safety data behind the product, all of the latest scientific evidence. And it's always fascinating because actually what we've discovered is they maybe weren't aware of it. And that's where the disconnect between the doctor and the patient can come in, because the patient thinks the doctor does know all of this, or they should know all of this. What the doctor sometimes fails to appreciate is this list of things that the patient has come in with. Can I take A, B, C, D, E, F, G? Should I stop doing high intensity exercise? Should I change my diet? It's the only thing that's within their control in this experience of IVF, of fertility treatment. And they really think the doctor should be able to support them with answers to this. But the doctor is thinking, this isn't what I know about. I didn't study any of this. I'm doing really cool things in the lab, like cutting edge research on mitochondrial transfer. Like it's human nature. If you don't know or understand about something, you just negate it. And actually that then feels the patient feeling like crap, because you go away being like, well, this is really confusing. You've actually added to my overwhelm because I've read this online. I've read this book. I've seen this thing on Instagram with the fertility nutritionists, and I really respect them. And then you're saying, no, absolutely not. There's no evidence. And it just makes everything so much more complicated than it needs to be. So it's like an education for most of the doctors we find. And then once they know a bit about it, and you make it exciting, really interesting, and you can really get into the weeds with the clinical data we have, they find it really interesting. It's empowering. And we removed a pain point for that. They can now just safely recommend our product to their patients.
And tell me, what is the product doing?
It's improving egg quality. Yeah. Okay. So everything in there, that's the focus with the product. So published evidence, what do we know can actually shorten time to pregnancy, improve upon live birth rate, and demonstrate an improvement to egg quality. Yeah, that's the bars of evidence we're looking at.
And I'm always interested in the idea of improving egg quality because, having done this podcast for 2 years, I always get many different opinions about the degree to which you can change and improve egg quality. And so what's your take on that?
You can. So at Ovum, we've all done our own little self-studies, if you like, where we've done blood tests and then taken Ovum for 3 months, and all of our AMHs have gone up, but it's not a huge jump. That's not possible when it comes to egg quality to have this huge jump. I think you can definitely slow down the decline of your egg quality through lifestyle. But we are launching our own clinical study because we want to be able to kind of validate this with published evidence, and we're doing that with an academic organisation here in London. It's much easier for sperm.
Yeah.
They do get the massive jump, but it makes sense because the body is constantly making new sperm, and we don't make any new eggs, which is another thing. When I started trying to conceive, I think I was like 35. Did not know that. And I'm trying to remember, did I actually not know that? Or did I just no? I really don't think I knew that. I thought, but yeah, it makes sense. I kind of where did I read this? That if you think of eggs as kind of living in this warehouse, and they're there from the moment you're born, even before you're born, and they're just, slowly over time experiencing damage, whereas sperm is like a factory, so it just keeps coming out. So yeah, you can improve your AMH, but it's not by a wide margin.
Yeah. And it's complicated, isn't it? Because obviously, I'm an acupuncturist, so we talk a lot about improving overall health of your body, physically, emotionally, spiritually. But there's always a tension between the idea of preparing your body for treatment and for pregnancy versus getting on with treatment as quickly as possible because of the decline of AMH, and every month that goes by, you might be losing the opportunities for those follicles to grow. And so I feel, so many people ask us all the time, what should I do? Shall I spend 3 months preparing? Can I do anything? Or should I just go straight to IVF? And it's really difficult because of that grey area. We don't have enough evidence yet to say which is the best route. That I really feel for people when they have to make those big decisions about what is the best way to go forward into IVF or any kind of fertility treatment.
It's incredibly tough because, like, if you can take that time out for 3 months, you may not avoid the need for that IVF. And IVF is horrific. Like, financial, mental, physical costs are huge, but you definitely feel, when I had IVF, I felt, I was being pushed into it a little, which is why I probably believe that IVF should be a non-profit sector, but that's a story for another day. It's very, very tricky. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And so with your supplements, so you said the time to conceive is in fertility clinics. So fertility clinics are recommending the supplement when people go in and they say, because they'll often say, we have people coming in on a huge list of supplements.
Yeah.
And people will say to us, should I be taking this? Should I not be taking this? And I'm like, well, I'm an acupuncturist. I'm not a nutritionist. Mm-hmm. We have a nutritionist in our team we refer people to because we're like, get specific nutritional advice. I assume that your time to conceive is suitable for everybody, regardless of their background.
Yeah, by design, suitable for everybody, regardless of background. We do work with a lot of fertility nutritionists, and actually we've started to try and bring them in to meet with the IVF clinics we work with, because there's a bit of a gap there. I think every IVF clinic should have an in-house acupuncturist and an in-house fertility nutritionist. That would be amazing.
Yes,
we have had success with trialing that out. It's just little steps. Yes, it is suitable for everybody. In addition, we do recommend taking a really high quality omega-3, because that is not in time to conceive. It's fat soluble, so it wouldn't be in time to conceive. We do now know some clinics prescribe our CoQ10 additionally, so a higher dose of our CoQ10 where there's a confirmed diagnosis of diminished ovarian reserve. Yeah.
Great. And where you can buy it online? You can buy it. Are you now in supermarkets? Did I say?
Yes, the time to conceive is now in Sainsbury's.
Great.
Gosh, can't remember how many months ago now. I'm going to say 4 or 5 months ago, maybe. Yeah.
Great.
It's really interesting. In the supermarket world, you're starting to see they're looking for much better quality brands.
Yeah, because they're terrible in supermarkets, aren't they?
Yeah. But it's so nice because they actually reach out to us. So they're saying, like, we've kind of learned our lesson. We've been selling a lot of crap. And you're like, yeah. You have, haven't you?
Yeah.
And they want that education. They're trying to kind of, up their game and offer something much better to the consumer, which is great to see.
Yeah. And so in addition to the to the time to conceive, you also do a pregnancy test.
Yes.
So tell us about the pregnancy test. What made you decide to move into that space?
So the plan was always for Ovum to offer everything the person who's trying to conceive might need on that journey, and just to make it better. And so pregnancy tests, I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of pregnancy tests to kick off with.
Yeah, I'm not sure anybody is.
Yeah.
Especially, especially in the world of you've taken them and they're negative and
Yes,
you
yeah.
have to
It's like
round.
for me personally, I used them 1 month and I was like, this is awful. It felt like you are a failure, like right in front of me. Whereas I personally prefer just seeing if my period arrived or it didn't. That was less painful for me to deal with than the period and the big negative. But obviously a lot of people do use them. And there was at the time, a couple of years ago, there was the Trying to Conceive community wrote an open letter to Clearblue, who were like the only other brand in the pregnancy test space. And the open letter was saying, basically, to summarize, why do you ignore us? All of your marketing, everything you do is around oh, thank God I'm not pregnant. Now I can carry on with my day. And all their ads are like that. They're like, the majority of your customer can't be that. It must be us who desperately want the opposite. Where's the value for money? Where is the subscription offer? Like, we need more tests. We get through so many a month. We just have 2 in a pack. It's so expensive. And it was like, yeah, all of this is true. And so we asked our community, what do you think we should do next? Because we had a couple of ideas and we always build with them. And they were like, oh, Ovum needs to give pregnancy tests, give them the Ovum treatment. And so that's what we did next. And for me, offering pregnancy tests, I needed to know that they came with some kind of additional, like genuinely helpful support for people who were then getting a negative, which is not what they want, or a positive, but you've had a miscarriage before, an early loss, and you're not jumping up and down for joy. It's terrifying. So we worked with Alice Rose, fertility mindset coach, to offer like immediate with a QR code on the inside of the package, and you can access guided meditations with her for either scenario, and just to help with that, like what I was describing earlier is that punch to the gut moment when you get a negative and you also feel like a complete idiot because for me anyway, in that split second before the test result came in, even though you've been like, no, it's going to be negative, it's going to be negative, it's going to be negative, you're like, oh my God, actually, no, it might not be, this could be it. And then bam, it's not. And it's like, even now it's like a real visceral reaction in my stomach. But, that to me was like, we have to offer it with this. And it's been really well received in the community. A lot of people say, like, I finally feel like you've recognized me and what I'm going through. And that launched straight into Sainsbury's. You can also buy it on the website, but that's where all of our research showed that the women buy their pregnancy tests. So yeah, it's in Sainsbury's, and it's actually launches in like a week in Tesco's as well.
Oh, that's brilliant. You know what? We just recorded a whole episode on negative pregnancy testing.
Oh, really? I need to listen to that.
Yeah, because we did it with our coach just to sort of talk about practicalities around it, because we get so many people in our community who, in fact, we decided to do it because somebody put up in our community, I've just taken a test, I feel shit. Anyone got any advice out there? And I just thought this happens for so many people over and over again, and it becomes traumatic to the point where people don't want to do tests, they want to go and do blood tests, they want to find out in different ways because exactly like you say, it is so little thought has gone into how that is done, the product and everything. It's amazing what you offer because like you say, no one else is doing that, and it's such a huge trigger for some people, and it could be done so much better.
Yeah, and if anyone has any ideas on what else we could offer, I'd love to hear it. For us, it was like, it needs to be immediately accessible. So no barriers to accessing it. So it can't be like, go on our website and there's a blog. It needs to be like, and for us, it was the QR code, put your phone number and it takes you straight there. There's no advertising. There's no nothing. It's just immediately there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very important to me to do that if we're going to do pregnancy tests.
Yeah. And they are recyclable?
Yes. Yeah. So we do have a biodegradable version.
Wow.
That we're working on, top secret, hush hush. But the issue we have at the moment is rubbish. It's not pleasant to use. It falls apart. So there's a lot of work to do in research and development to come out with a product people would actually use and buy. And there's no point having a very sustainable product if no one's then going to actually buy it and use it. So the test is plastic, but inside each box there is a free post envelope. And at your convenience, you just put the use test and the individual sleeve it comes in and post it anywhere. And it goes back to a factory in university, a factory in Cambridge. And they're a startup spun out of the University of Cambridge, and they can recycle these plastics.
Wow. I mean, that's so good to hear as well, because when you think about, all these ovulation predictor kits and pregnancy tests, the usual ones there's a lot of waste, isn't there, with all of them?
Yeah, and we wanted I know it's not a perfect solution. You do
Yeah.
have to take it to a post box, but that's the best we can come up with, and it's the only way of keeping out all of it out of landfill. And you can wait. You don't have to post one; just wait till you kind of use them all. And we've tried to make it again as frictionless as possible. So you don't have to email us to get the free post envelope. You don't have to pay for the postage, and we do all of that. And we cover the cost of the recycling too. And we do need to ask that you just post it in the post box.
Yeah. In the hallway for months.
Yeah.
And so, what other things do you? So you said you have a community. What do you have? Like a newsletter? How can people find out more about the company?
Yeah. There is a newsletter. We have we call it our sounds fancy name, but our consumer advisory board called the Good Eggs. And if you're interested in joining, just sign up to our newsletter on the website. And it's a board, just like a company would have a board of directors, if you like. They're obviously not directors, that's supposed to be. And it's just to have all of those people feed into our product development. And it's very important. Although everyone at Ovum has suffered with infertility, some ongoing, you just want to make sure as you become a much bigger company that you never lose sight of why you did this. Now, I do not think for a second I'm ever in danger of doing that. But it's just good to always get different opinions in, different thoughts. And my favourite thing is to work with that group, chat to them for hours and hours and hours. So yeah, the Good Eggs is very important to us at Ovum.
Okay, I'll put all your details on the show. And what is next? Like where is, can you tell us like what you're working on for next, or is it growth of what you've already got?
We have further products launching this year.
Okay.
We actually do have the pregnancy tests that we offer come in a pack of 4.
Yeah.
Again, that was led entirely by the community because they test frequently. It's also amongst the most sensitive tests available today. So for accuracy, because there's a tendency to want to test as early as possible. We have had a lot of demand to offer that in a 2-pack convenience version. Again, that's come from the supermarkets who want to kind of make it a bit more mainstream. So the 2-pack version launches as well very shortly. And then I might have to keep the rest of them top secret for now. I can hear our marketing person in my head being like, Jenny, shut up.
Well, I won't push it any further on that, but we will keep our eyes and ears peeled and open to see what comes next. So thanks, Jenny. It's been really lovely to talk to you and really lovely to find out more about the company and the products and the rationale behind them. So I'll put all your details on the show, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We hope you have found this helpful. If you'd like more on fertility education, please see our Teaching to Conceive free course linked at the end of the show. You'll also find the link to join our community. For more personalised fertility support, you can work with us one-to-one in clinic and online. You can book a discovery call to find out more.